Hey guys, Kayla here from Journey Dog Training. I'm out in beautiful Burnaby, British Columbia, which is kind of a suburb of Vancouver with my dog Barley, who's currently off screen. And we are here today to talk to you guys a little bit about what to do when crazy stuff happens on your walks. So this came about because earlier this week, as anyone who reads my blog over at elperrotambien.com knows, Barley and I actually had a run-in with a black bear during one of our runs. So what this got me thinking about was it was actually really timely with my Facebook Live Training Tuesday video of open bar, closed bar last week. We talked a lot about how to open the bar, give your dog a bunch of treats when something scary or upsetting happens, close the bar when that thing goes away so that your dog learns that the scary, bad thing equals treats, and they can eventually learn to be more okay with it. So that's great and all, but what if you're doing what I was doing? I was on a trail run, I didn't have treats with me, and I ran into a black bear, and it was like, okay, this is not really a situation where I need my dog to be okay with this. I do not actually want Barley to be excited about seeing a black bear. We don't really need food in that situation. So what we did instead is I used some of our basic leash handling skills, and then here's some of the things that I wish I had also done as well. So if you're in a situation with your dog and you run into a bear, you run into a snake, or you run into an off-leash dog and you don't have treats and you need to figure out how to get out of there, here are going to be some basic leash handling techniques for that. This is also really helpful just to remember that, so we like to say that reactivity, or dogs that bark and lunge at other dogs, is kind of contagious. So if you're walking down the street and that dog up there on that balcony, he's barking, screaming, digging at you guys, losing his head like he does every time, and you start noticing your dog gets a little bit tense before you pass that house every day, this is also a time to pop out this training technique, because we don't want your dog to continue learning that that dog up there who's being a jerk and is in the wrong is going to ruin your walk. So again, I'm going to demonstrate some leash handling stuff to do if you don't have treats on you, because let's face it, I'm a professional trainer. I tell my clients to always have treats with them. I do not always have treats with me. You probably don't always have treats with you. So let's talk about some basic leash handling stuff, and then we'll move into some treat-based things as well to deal with all these different sticky situations that can happen on walks. So step one is to be aware. If you have a reactive dog, you already know this. You know that if your dog barks and lunges at other dogs, you need to be watching out for that. So don't have your phone out, just be scanning. That's kind of step number one. Step number two is going to be to have a good grip on your leash. So Riley, come on. I recommend holding the leash over your thumb and then closing your hand over this. This lets you drop it really quickly if you need, but also gives you a lot of strength if you need. I also hold leashes down here near my center of gravity whenever I feel like I might need it. I don't walk down the street holding my leash here. I will have it flipped over my pointer finger or my thumb and just swing in my hand like normal. No big deal. So, okay, so we're watching out. We're keeping an eye out. We're hopefully not going to run into that bear. We're hopefully not going to run into that dog if your dog barks and lunges at other dogs. The other thing about being aware is okay, so there's that house 3 doors down with, I'm not going to pick on a specific breed here, but that crappy dog that always barks and lunges at you. Maybe what you need to do is cross the street before you pass that house. Cross in the middle of the street. If you have 2 dogs in opposite sides of the street that both lose their heads when you walk by, maybe you need to pick a different route. Or maybe all you need to do is know what you need to do to get your dog through that. And again, this is to avoid that reactivity becoming contagious, because I've noticed with my own dog, and I've seen it many times with clients' dogs, if you walk by the same crappy dog every day, your dog is going to start getting stressed about walking by that same crappy dog. So there we go. Now let's talk about some leash handling techniques. So we've got the leash, we're holding it how we should. You can just swing, whatever, but if something happens, I want you to bring it in towards your center of gravity. I also want you to reel your dog in a little bit. So walk in. Here, I'm going to back up here so you guys can see me a little bit better. Barley, come on. Barley, sit. Thank you. All right, so we're just walking. Pretend we're walking. I see something over there by you guys that makes me a little bit nervous. I am going to bring my leash in, slide my other hand down, and grab it again. So I have just taken up all of Barley's slack, and I can do this really quickly. So again, for you guys at home, so I've got the leash in one hand, it's dangling off my thumb. Close my hand over it, other hand, slide down one full length, slide down to meet that other hand, and bring it back in. You can keep both hands on if you need, or you can just drop this other hand. I've got this leash right now. So first things first, we see something, we're gonna gather in that leash. We've got our dog close. Now what I would like to do is figure out what needs to happen. We're gonna decide what needs to happen next. Generally, if something is happening where like there's an off-leash dog that's giving me bad vibes, or there was a bear or a snake or whatever, we're just gonna turn and go the other way. And that is the number one thing, you guys. It is not a big deal to take a different route on your walk, to cut your run short. Do what you need to do to keep your dog safe. So we take our leash in, and then what I've done is I've taught my dog Barley that the cue this way means we're about to turn 180 degrees and go the opposite direction. I recommend teaching this to your dog outside of these stressful situations. It's gonna be a lot easier if your dog knows when I hear this way, we're gonna turn and go in less stressful situations, because if you only ever do this when something crazy is about to happen, your dog's gonna start getting nervous just because you said the words this way. So how I teach this way. What I do is I will just practice this on walks. So here, we'll go, get moving. Leave it. All right, so we've got Barley, we're just walking, this way, turn and go. Good boy. Demo again. This way, turn and go. Good job. When you guys are training this, you guys, use some treats. Reward your dog for coming with you. In real life, you are going to get to the point where you do not need treats for this, because it is an easy behavior for your dog. You can also inject some extra energy in it by jogging. So here's what we're gonna do again. Come on, bud. Walking. This way, come on, bud. Come on. Good boy, good job, yeah. Most dogs are going to enjoy running with you. So if you don't have treats, run the opposite direction. Make it fun. I'm gonna demo that one more time, and then I'm gonna tilt the camera down so you guys can see my feet and see what's going on here. So here we go. Come on, bud. Walking. This way. Come on. Good boy. Good job. Go get your stick. So Barley has a stick off camera that he's super excited about, so we let him get that. Now I'm gonna put this back in my treat pouch so I have his attention again. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna tilt you guys down so you can see my feet. What's going on here? Hopefully not down my shirt. All right, so this should be a good spot. So, actually, we're gonna do this one without the dog here. So, down, stay. You guys can see my feet now, right? All right, so if you are walking forward with your dog, as you say this way, I want you to plant one foot in front, turn and pivot, and then go. So again, we plant, shift back, pivot, and go. So, and again, I want you guys to practice this without your dog and without scary stuff happening, because I want this to feel really natural. So for me, when I saw that bear on my run last week, I didn't even really think about it. I basically had, you know, of course that immediate thought of like, oh, that is a bear right there. You know, I mean, this bear was like probably 30 feet from me. And I gathered Barley's leash in. He was on a hip leash. So I had to get my hands onto the leash, pull him in, and I said this way, and we ran the other direction. We were already running, but I picked up the speed a little bit. Actually, you know what? That's not entirely true. That is not what we did. Because you don't want to run away from bears. I do that with other dogs. We'll do that all the time. But we didn't run with the bear. Just for everyone out there who's freaking out. We backed up. So let's talk about a couple other options. So again, that leash managing, just watch for other dogs, know your environment, manage the leash, turn and go when you need to. Practice that without scary stuff. Practice that without your dog. The other thing that we can do here is we can use some really awesome tricks to get our dogs kind of through these tough situations. So here, I'm gonna demo with Barley. We'll get him back in here because I know he's more fun to look at than I am anyway. Hi, handsome. Alrighty, so what I like to do for some of these kind of hairy situations, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to turn and run. I don't need to turn and get out of there, but you know, maybe that situation where there's that dog up on the second story balcony that just loses his head when you walk by every time, and we want to get through that. You have a couple different options. So here, I'm going to tilt you guys down a little bit so you can see Barley. There we go. So we have a couple different options. One of the things I like to do with Barley, because he is so stick obsessed, is I will just tell him as soon as another dog starts barking, get your stick. I tell him just get his stick. I normally have not just thrown a stick on the ground, but Barley knows get your stick means go find a stick. He starts sniffing, he starts looking, he loves this game, and now it has become a coping mechanism for him. So when other dogs are being jerks, which happens a lot because we walk in a lot of areas, and because I intentionally bring him into training situations where he is helping rehabilitate aggressive dogs, he automatically starts looking for toys and treats and sticks on the ground without me asking him to. So you might be asking, okay, great, Kayla, but I don't have Barley. My dog is not as crazy and not as stick obsessed as yours is. What can I do? Unfortunately, there are not hamburgers lying around on the forest floor the way there are sticks lying around, so you guys are gonna have to bring your rewards with you. I am really lucky that pretty much everywhere I go, I can find a reward for Barley because he loves sticks. So I'm gonna pick this up again. Drop it, thank you. And I'm gonna demo the other option. So I'm gonna stuff this way down in my treat pouch so I don't accidentally grab it. And this is called a find it. So let's say we're walking, that crappy dog on the second story balcony starts losing his head at you guys. You are just gonna say, find it, and throw a bunch of treats on the ground. What this does is it distracts your dog. It gets you through, and it activates the soothing properties of sniffing. So for dogs, sniffing activates some dopamine pathways in the brain. It makes them happy. It helps them relax. So if your dog is nervous about something, throwing treats on the ground and making them sniff those treats out is hugely helpful. It teaches your dog that scary stuff makes treats happen, and it also helps get that sniffing power. So you're like, okay, great, we can throw treats on the ground, but what if I want to keep moving and get past that thing? Then we can do what's called a treat magnet. So I'm gonna take a bunch of treats in my hand here. I'm gonna close my hand a little bit around them, but there is a hole here, and you can see that kibble poking out here. This is a treat magnet. So here, we're gonna back up so you guys can see this in action. We're walking, crappy dog's going, but we don't want to turn around. I just offer this to my dog and I can lead him around like so. Again, this is a great thing to practice outside of the context of crappy stuff happening, because again, all of these things, we don't want you saying find it and throwing treats. We don't want you saying this way and turning and going. Any of those things to be predictors of bad stuff for your dog. So teach them and practice them outside of bad environments as well. So, okay, so far we have being situationally aware. We have the turn and go. We have the find it with treats or sticks, depending on your dog, and we have the treat magnet. The last thing that I really like to do when I run into a crappy situation with my dog is we call it a car wash. And essentially this is a little dog trick where your dog puts his head in between your legs. This makes you as the owner feel a little bit better because you know where your dog is. Your dog can't really get into trouble if he's in between your legs. And if you train this right, it's a fun trick for you and your dog, and you can use it to move backwards or forwards out of tough situations. So this one is kind of flashy, it's kind of silly, but if that makes it more fun for you and more fun for you to train, so therefore you're going to practice more, then by all means make this your go-to. Me personally, I do the turn and goes and the find it's with the sticks and the treats because I don't always have treats with me. I do a lot of trail running where I might have treats, but they're zipped up somewhere. I like to have options that are not treat focused. But for a lot of us, you know, practicing find its and practicing the treat magnets, it's just kind of boring. It works, it's great, absolutely love doing it, but it's not super fun. So let's show you guys that we call it car wash. I'm sure there are a bunch of other names for it, but all it is Barley puts his head between my legs. We practice this a bunch, and then we can move backwards and forwards with it. So here goes. Come here, bud. So Barley and I are not awesome at this, so I actually have to get to a point where he is behind me in order to get it to work. Car wash. Good boy. So this is all it is. I'm just feeding my dog for being in between my legs. I actually taught this to Barley while I was on the phone with my dad one day. And all I did to get him to do this, go find it, is I took a treat. So I've got a piece of kibble here, and this is Barley's dinner here. So don't be worried. If you've got a dog that loves food, do not worry that you're going to make them lose weight in training. You can just use kibble. So here, we're gonna lure him around. So I switch hands, get him here, and then reward. So this is how you get your dog into this position. I'm just rewarding as long as he stays here. So he moved, leave it. Again, so I move with one hand, and you're gonna see me switch the treat to my other hand as I lure him through between my legs. Car wash, good boy. And then to teach your dog to move forward and backwards, you just walk. Well, you waddle, really, with your dog. Whoops. You done? Okay. Car wash. Good. Yeah, good boy. Good job. Find it. So, I mean, it's not the most elegant, but it's fun. It's a great way to get through those tough situations with your dog. And it also, you know, like, for example, with that bear, one of the things I really thought about doing in retrospect was doing the car wash with Barley, because then I would have known exactly where he was, because he was on a 10-foot bungee waist leash. And as we're backing away from the bear, I'm gathering that in. But if he and I had had that car wash under perfect training, I would have known that I could say car wash, he could get there, and I know exactly where he is. I can feel his head there, and I can keep my eye on that bear. So that is one of the huge benefits of this one, because again, going back to that bear example, because that is what spawned this whole discussion, I don't want to do a find it or a treat magnet or anything if there's a bear around. I don't want to be introducing food. I don't want to be exciting my dog. I don't want to be doing a lot of movement. I just want to turn and get out of there. So what Barley and I actually did is we just did a nice quiet turn and go. We walked backwards because I wanted to be able to watch the bear. I kept him nice and choked up on the leash, and as soon as we were out of the way of the bear, we'd rounded the corner, couldn't see it anymore, we started jogging. So let's do a super quick wrap up. If you guys have any questions, shoot them in the comments section. Otherwise, I'm gonna just do a quick recap and we'll get out of your feed. So, dealing with dogs when crappy stuff happens on walks. Proper leash handling. I want that leash over your thumb or your forefinger, and you can close over it. The reason I like this is because we can drop it right away if we need to. I don't want you breaking your hand. I've literally had clients whose hands have been broken by their dogs if shit hits the fan. Don't break your hand over this, okay? So, leash, close our hands. If something happens, the first thing I want you to do is your other hand joins on the leash, slides down, you join that second hand, and then you pull your dog in. You've just taken up all that slack, and again, you can do this super quickly, okay? Number one thing that I generally do, because it's super easy to remember, it's super intuitive, and you don't generally need treats for it, is just that turn and go. So again, come on, bud. Okay, just like that. Good boy. In real life, I want you guys to say this way. I can't talk to you guys and give the cues at the same time. Luckily, my dog is awesome, and he can do this without me saying anything. Other option, we've got the find it, where we throw treats on the ground or tell your dog to find a stick. That is a great way to just get them feeling good if something crazy is happening with that stupid idiot neighbor dog over there. And I actually have lovely neighbor dogs right now, guys. I'm just using that as an example. Other option, we've got the treat magnet. So we've got a bunch of pieces of kibble in our hands. We close them like this. There's some kibble right there, and we can lure our dogs around using this treat magnet. That one's great. Dogs love it. Super easy. And then that last one is the super fun one. It's the car wash where your dog gets in between your legs and you can move back and forth with them. Again, that one, if it's more fun for you to train that one, absolutely do that one. If it sounds like a pain in the butt and it sounds really stupid, avoid it. The only thing I really like about it is if there's a situation where you need to keep your eye on a situation and don't want to keep your eyes on your dog, the car wash is really, really nice for that. All right, guys, do you have any questions before I sign off? Cool. Be sure to like, share, all that good stuff. I also just added on my Facebook page, if you go on the left-hand side, there's a thing that says free morning routine, something like that. If you put your email address in there, I'm gonna send you guys a 3-page free morning routine that's dog friendly, so meaning it is kind of set up to actually have your dog enjoy the rest of your day. And it also will then set off a great set of emails that send you guys kind of all over the internet on some other great, just information about dogs. So if you guys want to go ahead and sign up for that, great. If you don't want to and you just want the free PDF, you don't want any part of my email list, just shoot me a message here and I'll get it over to you guys. Again, like, share, all that great stuff. That just helps me get this information to more and more people, and that's what we're all about. So we'll see you next week for Training Tuesday, same time, same place, same time, different place. Actually, you guys will be at the same place. I will be in Kelowna, British Columbia, I think. I don't even remember where I'm going to be. I might be in Canada, I might be in Seattle, who knows. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week.